So in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how I came up with making a dragon slash slinky weight for the bank fishermen. Now these are used for people on a boat who want to drag, and they get hung up a lot less than any other sinker out there. But I was thinking I want to try this and use it for a bank fishing setup because I fish a lot of rocky areas that end up getting hung up a lot, and I have to break off because I'm getting hung in those rocky spots. So I figured this would be a really good setup for a bank fisherman to try out. Well, the problem was when I went to find these for myself, I ran into two problems. These right here are the best looking ones I could find. They're made out of a tube, so they're slick, and they got a little bit of a rattle in them. But the only problem is I can only find them as big as this size, which I think ended up being like an ounce or ounce and a half, which means I can't sling my bait out there as far as I normally am. So I said, well, I tried it, and I couldn't get it out there far. But now I wanted a bigger size. Now the only bigger size I could find, and I didn't really like the design because it didn't have the tube all the way around it, was the Team Catfish ones, and those only went up to a 2 ounce. Now I generally don't swing no lower than a 3 ounce weight just because I really like to get my baits out there far in the channel. So I had no choice but to come up with my own, and here's what we got. So what you're going to need is you're going to need some fishing line, and I'd use really thick line. You got 80-pound mono. You're going to need this tubing here. Now this tubing, I'm going to try to find all this stuff for you guys on and put it in the link in the description, but I don't know if I can find this tubing or not. But this tubing, you can get it at a hardware store. I got mine at Ace's Hardware, the Helpful Hardware place. But now you can probably get this at Lowe's, Home Depot, anywhere, and they sell it. It's super cheap. I think it's like 49 cents a foot or something like that. So it's insanely cheap. But you're going to need to get, now this right here is, now it tells on them, when you go get them, it'll tell you this is I don't know if you guys can see that really good, or probably not, but it's a 1/2 inch inside diameter, meaning you got a 1/2 inch from inside wall to inside wall. What I'm going to do them with, and because I want them to be heavier where I can get them out there, and I don't want them to be real long because I'm going to be casting them pretty far, is these egg weights. And now this 3/4 size egg weights, and these are really cheap. These are the Water Gremlins, and this 3/4 ounce fits in this tube really snug. Now, the next thing that you don't have to have this, but this is what I got just because I can clip it on and off, is these clips here that clip to your line. You can just clip this weight when you're done with it on there, and then when you get in a situation where you don't need these dragon weights, you can clip on your regular bank sinkers. The last thing you're going to need is a bead, and I'll tell you why you need a bead here in a second. This first one we're going to make is the one that I like, that I'm going to be using a lot from the bank. But now stay tuned to the end because there's going to be another one that I'm going to show you guys that has a little bit of a rattle to it, and you guys might like it, and you can make them longer for those of you who want to use them out on a boat and stuff. But what you're going to do is I like throwing, like I said, about 3 ounces. So that means I'm going to need 4 of these things since they're 3/4 a piece. And all I'm going to do is thread 4 of these things in through the line here. So I'll go ahead and do the other 3 and show you guys what that's going to look like. So now you have 4 of them on there. Now what you're going to do is cut your line and then tie it off on one end. Here using this for what I'm going to cut. Take this bead and tie it off on one end. There's what it's going to look like. We need to cut the tube the length of this. So all I do is just put it up against my tube here and see about how much I need and cut it off. Now here's something important that you really want to think about, is what I thought about after I made my first one, is you want the tube to come past your knot. That way when this thing's dragging the ground, it is not going to be on your knot. Your tube's going to be dragging, and your knot's going to be protected by the tube. So now we got our tube cut. Now now it's pretty cold here and this tube's pretty stiff, but now on warmer days you can let this sit out for a little bit right out in the sun, and it'll warm it up and you can get these sinkers down in there a little bit easier. But now, like I said, it's snug, so you're going to have to push these things in here a good ways. But now you can do this 1 or 2 ways, and I found that the easiest way is to run the line up through the tube and pull the sinkers through, like so. Now let's get these sinkers started pulling through. You're just going to have to pull and push them at the same time, help them go up through there. I'm going to get these pulled up through here and show you guys what this is going to look like. Now, when you get all the way to the end, and like I said, you want that bead to be, that knot to be covered up. You can see it's still just a little bit exposed. Now here's what you can do to help get that pushed up in there. Just take another weight and set it in there and push it on up in there a little ways. Now ideally what you want is to get it pushed up on there far enough where you're flush here, and that'll give you plenty of room, and just wiggle this sinker right back out. So now our knot's protected in there. When it's dragging across the bottom, it's not going to hit up against nothing, and it's going to stay pretty fresh. Now when I say these things fit in there pretty snug, they actually fit in there really tight. So all the weight, you can see nothing's going to fall out of here. It's really, you can't even hardly pull it out of there. Actually, you probably end up breaking something off before you pull it out of there. But now the last thing you want to do is tie on to the end of this. So what you want to do is tie it, I use a little clinch knot or a little cinching knot. The closer you can get it, the better off you are. So just tie you a good knot right there, and then I'll show you what that looks like when we get this thing tied. Alright, so here it is. You got the bead protected in there, and the knot rather. You got this flush up here, and you're tied off right up against it. And now this is just going to hang off your line when you clip it on there, and you've got yourself a 3-ounce weight that you can cash from the bank, and it's going to be really snag proof because of that slick tube. It's going to slide past a lot of stuff that a regular sinker and stuff normally wouldn't come across. Now real quick, for those of you that want a longer dragging weight for slinky weight, what you can do is get a smaller tube, and I think this is just, I can't remember the exact size, it's a little bit bigger than a 1/4 ounce, and get these 1/4 ounce egg weights and put them in there. Now there's 4 of those, and that's an ounce, so you get 4 more, you're going to have 2 ounces, and then you're going to have 3 ounces, a little bit left over to protect your bead, or your knot and the bead. But that's going to be a 3-ounce weight, and it's going to be longer for those of you guys who like your dragging weights longer. And it's a slick tube, and it's going to slide past stuff a lot better. Now let's get into how to make one that has a little bit of a rattle to it. Again, here to speed up the video, we're not going to retie everything, but we're going to go back to this half inch diameter holes, and we're going to use these little bitty 1/4 ounce weights for this that has a rattle to it. So what you're going to want to do with this is leave a little bit of slack in there. Leave about one of those size sinkers a gap. So when you do get them all put in there, you're going to get that movement and get that rattle out of it. And that'll be just like these right here that you can buy. It's got a light rattle in it. I don't even know if you got to picking that up, but it's got a light rattle in it. But those things are like $8 for 2 of them, and you can make these right here really cheap. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. Love to have you. We talk a lot about catfishing stuff here, a lot about setting up stuff, trying new stuff, and just trying to make everyday catfishing a lot easier, more efficient, catch bigger ones and more of them. So if that sounds like anything you want to be a part of, again, jump on the subscription down there and hit that button and be a part of it. Also hit that thumbs up button. Other than that, we'll see you guys in the next video.